Kunal, you wrote a book on creativity in China 4 years ago. How have things changed since?
Well, I always say that by the time the book came out, between the time it was written and between the time it was printed, things had already changed quite a bit.
Right.
There's a lot that has changed, and I think the defining moment was the Olympics and the Shanghai Expo, because both these events really gave rise to what you could call China pride. People in China became more proud of their cultural roots, of their heritage, and that has really created a huge change in the way Chinese brands and indeed manifestations of Chinese culture are being represented in Chinese brands and in people's everyday lives. The other big change, of course, that has happened is the rise in people's self-expression through interactive communications mediated by the internet. In the last 3 or 4 years, there's been an absolutely exponential rise in the number of bloggers who are doing different kinds of things in terms of personal expression and also community expression. And that, I think, has created a huge change in the way brands and people engage through expression, through culture, and that really has a significant impact on marketing.
Is the appreciation for good design mostly a big city phenomenon, or is it permeating to smaller cities as well?
I think it is permeating into the smaller cities. Over the last 6 months, we've done a major study in small towns in China, and we realized that there's a wealth of cultural heritage that people are drawing upon. And there's also this interesting flux of ideas coming in from outside. We met people like interior designers who are now saying that most middle-class people now want clean lines, they want a relatively uncluttered environment, and they're really doing up their homes in what is quite different from the previous generation of Chinese families. On the sort of parallel note, when we go to home appliances stores, we find that simple devices like water filters and refrigerators are no longer just plain white boxes, but they're also done up in very colorful designs. What also seems to be happening there is that people are becoming proud of their local traditions, whether it's pottery, whether it's tapestry, whether it's art forms, which have always existed, but it's only now that village tradition or the folk tradition is becoming part of the mainstream. Brands are beginning to adopt them, and interestingly, a lot of them are Chinese brands.
So what kind of change is modernization bringing to design in China?
I think the interesting thing that seems to be happening is this blend of traditional culture with modern ideas. And sometimes, of course, we find that the quest for modernization, the quest for new things, can frankly result in things that are very tacky. For example, the richest village in China, called the Huaxi village, recently constructed a 60-floor high tower with a gigantic golden bull in its lobby. Now that is downright tacky. I think the big change that has to happen is that the value of money has to translate into a value for aesthetics, and that is only beginning to happen right now. But on the other hand, what we are finding is that young people are no longer interested in mass-produced, simple or corporate-looking clothing or mobile phones or any of those things. In fact, a lot of small individual boutiques and designers are thriving because young people want things that are very individualized, and that really is a great opportunity for design in China.